We're very pleased to have in our studio today Tasmin Little, violinist extraordinaire, great champion of British music, Frederick Delius, among other things. Thank you so much for that. You're our go-to anytime we need.
Thank you. That's lovely
Delius or Gerald Finzi or Dame Ethel Smythe, as you have on your new recording
Indeed,
out on
yeah.
Chandos. And you're the daughter of George Little, who is still with us at 90 years.
Absolutely. He celebrated his 90th last November.
Great actor. But you decided to take up the violin instead.
That's right, yes.
Studied at the Menuhin School, had Nigel Kennedy as a classmate.
Absolutely.
And then you've gone on to much concertizing. But as we have found out in the summer of 2020, you're going to cease appearing on stage and also, I found out, stop recording, much to our distress. But you've been so many places. You've done the Berlin Phil, the New York Philharmonic, down to Australia, all over the world, outreach, workshops, all that type of thing. So I have the feeling you're still going to be very busy. Tell me a little bit about the Naked Violin and some of your community outreach work, which I assume will continue.
It won't continue in exactly this format because I really am going to stop playing. Mm-hmm. I always said that I would stop one day, so it was always when and not if. And I was very clear always that I didn't want my playing to deteriorate. I always said I would stop when I'm at the top of my game. And
you studied with me. I was going to say with Menuhin. I saw Menuhin some years ago, and it was toward the end of his game.
Yes,
and
yes.
He went a little too long.
Well, I think he the performances were so expressive, but obviously there comes a moment where one's technique begins to let you down, and I didn't really want to be in that position. And I mean, even Heifetz, when he was playing in his 90s, it was still extraordinary, but it wasn't the Heifetz that we all revered.
Yeah, we had Isaac Stern here, same type of situation.
Yeah.
But you've got such a fantastic discography, and you're going to be on the airways.
Yeah. Well, that's lovely to know.
Forever,
Thank you so
forever
much.
And ever.
Well, when I stop, I will have recorded 45 CDs,
Wow.
and of really a broad range of repertoire. So I think the only composers, well, I was going to say I haven't recorded Bach, but in fact I have recorded a Bach sonata and a Mozart sonata on a disc which is called Partners in Time, which was a follow-up to the Naked Violin project that I began, and that was with the free download of also Bach solo work and Isai and Paul Patterson. So, yes, I felt that it was really important to me not only to stop at an appropriate point in time, but stop while I've actually still got enough energy and vitality and desire to do other things with my life. And some of these are going to be musically orientated, but some of them are not. I would like to find opportunities now to develop other aspects of me.
Yeah.
And, I was a person, I was me before I picked up the violin. And, obviously, of course, music is just going to remain an intrinsic part of my life, but just not the actual nuts and bolts of playing a violin. And the moment that you stop devoting 4 or so hours of every single day to practice, your playing just does go downhill. So I can't half play the violin, which is why I also can't record, because if I'm going to make a recording, you actually need to have all the stamina at your fingertips, because you are playing for about 8 to 10 hours every day when you are making that recording. Now, if you're not performing and practicing, then you're not in good enough shape to make a decent recording.
Just like an athlete, yeah.
Exactly. I think it's more athletic than people realize, just because we don't, cover a great physical distance.
Right, but there I've had people before interviewed about music injuries, the tendons, the strain on your arm, all that type of thing when you're playing the violin.
Yeah, it's hugely physical, and even just, when I made my very first recording, just standing up for all those hours, my legs were exhausted because I didn't normally stand still in one place for 6 to 8 hours.
See, that's what you get for not playing the cello.
Yeah, that's
right. I interviewed Aaron Copland many years ago, and I asked him, I said, basically, why have you stopped composing? And he said, I've done everything I wanted to do. And as far as a composer, he was still conducting, but as a composer, he had basically stopped. And I guess it's the same type of thing when you've reached your goal, and you certainly have. You've done an amazing amount of concerts.
Well, I've certainly done more than I ever dreamed that I would have been able to do. I wouldn't say that I have climbed every single mountain, but I think it is actually literally impossible because the violin repertoire is massive, and you just can't get through it all. It's impossible. But I've learnt something like 70 violin concertos and an enormous amount of sonata repertoire and pieces for violin and piano pieces for violin and orchestra. So I have covered a lot of territory, and I have worked very hard in order to be able to do that. And that's the thing. I mean, I could have made a decision, say, about 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Okay, now I play 20 concertos and that's it. If people want me, they can pick from this selection. But I didn't want to do that because, first of all, there were pieces that other people weren't bothering with that I felt really merited being given an opportunity. And so it was important to me to take the time and the trouble to learn these pieces and then play them and record them so that people could have an opportunity to listen to this great music that's neglected. So that's been a bit of a feature of my career, and it's been a feature that I've really loved. But alongside that goes hours and hours and hours of practice and weekends lost and holiday time just not open to happening.
We'll have to get you on radio. It sounds very much like a radio announcer's life. But we do have you here, and this Thursday over at the Williamsburg Winery, you're going to be doing the César Franck A Major Sonata with Olga Kern.
Yes,
have you done concerts with Olga before?
No. This is my very first concert with her, and I was so thrilled because literally we just started playing together. And well, first of all, we were chatting, and we were getting on like a house on fire, and that's always a good sign because if you're chatting to somebody and you get on and you connect in that way, the chances are you're going to connect musically as well, which we certainly have.
Wonderful.
And then the Shostakovich Trio is in fact a new piece for me, so I've learnt it specifically for this festival.
Okay, that's Friday down at the Miller Studio at Sandler Center in Virginia Beach. You're going to do the Shostakovich Trio No. 2, but you're also going to play that famous knucklebuster for violin, Ravel Sigan.
Absolutely. That's right. I mean, it's such a great piece. He wrote it, of course, for the wonderful Hungarian violinist Jeli Daranyi.
Yeah.
And I gather that he went to hear her in a performance and she just, blew his socks off, as it were. And so he wrote this piece and just chucked everything at her but the kitchen sink and then the kitchen sink as well. But it's not such an easy piece for the piano either, because the piano's got to basically replace the orchestra. So it's as although the piano doesn't come in for 5 minutes, it's as virtuosic for the piano when it comes in as it is for the violin.
Well, you'll keep Olga busy. And
absolutely.
And then Nina Kotova cellist is going to be in the concert as well. Well, we're so glad to have you here. We would remind everybody, these concerts, Thursday and Friday, they're sold out, according to what I see on the internet. But in case there are any tickets left, 282-2822 is the number for the Virginia Arts Festival. And online, you can check in VAFEST.org, or the box office at their headquarters down by Chrysler Hall in downtown Norfolk. But Tasmin Little, glad to have you in town. Sorry we're not going to see you too much after this, but if you get a chance to come back or just come back and visit, please do.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually wrote on Twitter today that I have voted Norfolk, Virginia, my most friendly USA destination.
All right.
Because literally, even when I walked into the hotel, two gentlemen were walking towards me. They both went, "Hi, how are you?" And I thought, gosh, do I know them? No, I can't, because I've never been here before. I thought maybe they're connected with the festival. No, they're just people.
Southern hospitality.
Absolutely. And I'm walking along the streets. Everybody's going, "Hi, how are you?" So friendly. I absolutely love it. I feel completely at home here. I'm just having an absolute whale of a time.
Well, wonderful. Come on back anytime.
Thank
you.
We'll
make a place for you. And you can
you.
play in our record library. Tasmin Little, thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing you this week.
Thank you.